All right, I think we are live. Welcome everybody. My name is Abner. I work at CodeMiner in the Novo Hamburgo's office at Rio Grande do Sul. And today I'm going to talk about progressive apps today. Uh, I'll briefly introduce you about what is this. Progressive web apps are experiences that combine the best of the web and the best of apps. Uh, what I mean with this, usually when you have a native web app, you can have access to more APIs that we don't have this implemented on the apps on the web. Like what I mean with the web is the web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, the new Edge, and etc. And usually in the native apps, you have more access and controls, for example, cameras and Bluetooth and gyroscope GPS and another other features that usually in the web you have kind of this, but sometimes this is not have the full control of this. One of the examples is the camera. You have access to this, but you don't have the full experience and the full power as you would have on a native app. Uh, Here we have a simple example of what is PWA. This is one of the first PWAs that get attention from the public. That is the Twitter's PWA. Uh, and when this was released, one of the biggest thing that users uh, liked from this is the size of the installed version. Usually, when you go to the Play Store and the App Store, even a simple and one app that you think, oh, this is a really simple app. Why this have a big size of download? Because usually when you have a native app, you have a lot of back stuffs that bundle together to create this, like I said before, the powerful experience. But sometimes you don't need all these things. You need just simple things that you can reach using the web. So here we have on the left side the mobile Twitter version, and on the right side you have the PWA Twitters version. That is basically a version of the mobile Twitter with a manifest.json on your header, and you have this experience of it looks like a native app, but you have some features that uh, are not fully implemented, but for their case fits really well. Uh, another common PWA that people try to show as a use case is the Tinder. And for a comparison perspective, the Tinder app at an older version from Tinder apps, it has in Android, it starts with 30 megabytes when you install it. And when you goes to the PWA version, you goes down to 2.8 megabytes. It costs almost 10x the size of the installed version. And this is one thing that's not today, it's not the biggest concern, the size of apps, at least in more developed countries, because people have access to better smartphones with more storage. But back in the days when PWA was started to become more popular, this is one of the biggest trade-offs that makes people think in move their native apps to a PWA because of this minimum bundle size that will be stored in your smartphone. Uh, and okay, with this explanation, PWA has some core foundations that makes the PWA that makes a PWA to be more appealing and also be more useful for the users and gets the user experience better, making people, oh, okay, I'm going to use your PWA instead of your native app. So it must be fast. Users don't expect jank scrolling or slow load performance that makes your website feel and start to become a little bit slower and even worse, sometimes stop to work the website. So there's a lot of stuff that in a web platform, in a website, that we usually always do this, or at least we should do this when we are working in a website. As an example, manage your critical rendering path. That is the first stuff that, okay, this must be rendered as soon as possible, and the other stuff that doesn't show or something that requires some action, for example, some modals and other pop-ups that isn't necessary to appear in the first time. Okay, this can be loaded after. Also, we have the rendering performances that uh, when you are talking about Android, you have different CPUs and different uh, brains that which brings different power for their smartphones. And so this is one thing that you need to take in account when you are developing something with an web, because the way how web things work is not probably is not performatic as it should be on native. So if you start to make a lot of things, a lot of complex things that may or may not impact in performance, you need to remember that, okay, this is not a native app, so this probably will not have all the the optimizations that usually when you are doing a native app, this will come with. Uh, it should be integrated. And what is this? Users usually when goes from a website, like your responsive website, to a native app, what these expectations? Users' expectations is, okay, in the native app we will have more integration. Like I said, as an example, Instagram will have a lot of filters and all that stuff that this wasn't available on the website. So Instagram now in their website they are developing and adding more features that are only available on the native app. Some of them because you don't have the full power of this API, like the camera API. So you need to make things in a different way that may impact your performance. So your app will not be so fast. So you need to take care of that. But what it is integrated? As an example, you have a lot of features that now you have on your native apps, like push notifications. You have payments like Apple Pay and Android Pay. You have some kind of like OTP control when you have the access with the SMS and one-time password. So some apps also, automatically detect your one-time password received from SMS and uh, already get this info and put in an input on your app. And back in the days, we don't have this in PWA, but you need to try to make your app integrated as possible with the platform and to bring the user a good experience that, okay, I have all I need and I don't need a native app to do this. Uh, it should be reliable. Sometimes when you are in some places and you are using some kind uh, of apps, of native apps, and you don't have network access, you still having access to your app. This will cache your data, all your requests on the background, and then if you just close the app and the internet gets online again, you will be able to send all the data in background and make your request process. So this is one thing that in some browsers, in the majority of browsers, you can do also with the PWAs, because you have the service workers power that allows you to detect the internet status, so you can check if you are online or offline, and you can make some kind of cache and some reload or some load of information in background synchronous and then implement on your browser. But also this has some trade-offs. Back in the days, you can't do this in a background. Like I said, with a mobile apps, you can put your app in a native app. You can put your app in background, go down, and open another app, starts to use this, and when the internet get back, it will start to process everything in the background without you needing to go up and activate this instance of your app again. So today, this is one of the biggest things that are coming in for the future of the PWA. And also, it should be engaging. Like I said, usually, for example, iFood. Here in Brazil, we have the iFood. We receive vouchers for discount, and usually we receive this how? With push notifications. So Chrome accepts the push notifications, Android accepts push notification, and desktops also allow you to have push notifications. But this is one of the biggest things that Apple's Apple still doesn't introducing this on your web when in your PWAs. Apple doesn't allow you to send push notifications through your PWAs. At least not in a easy way. Probably if you try to find some hack ways that it's not the ideal and not as expected, probably you can find something. But this is one thing that the community, if you go to Apple's, if you try to find Google, when push notifications will become available on Safari, on iOS 14, 13, you see a lot of people asking for this, but Apple don't say nothing about this. So this is one thing that you might also take in account when you will make an app today and decide to go to PWA. How important is some feature to engage your user? Oh, this feature is really important. Okay, I have access to this. So even today, Apple and Android has some difference, but the majority of functionalities will be available in both. But this push notifications is one of that I I think is one of the biggest things in most of the web apps, in the native apps. That is because they send you alerts about something that happened or some other changes. A lot of stuff is uh, are being doing with the push notifications. So you need to be careful with this. And 2020, what about today? Uh, okay, some years passed since PWA starts to being developed and introduced to the users and developers. So how I imagine this today, how I imagine it. Okay, this is really powerful, really beautiful. I can do a lot of stuff today. And actually, how it is today, it's something that even if Google has the Google, I think it's Fuju project, and a lot of other teams from other companies are working on that. We still have some things that are not so clear today about how the development of the features and APIs that I would like to use will be. Like I said, the example of the push notifications from Apple. So this is one thing that is not clear. There is a lot of things also that one can implement in one way and others can implement in a different way. So all of this you need to take care. But like I said, WA have almost full support in the majority of mobile browsers widely used today. So I listed the biggest ones, that is the Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and uh, and Samsung web browser. But a good thing about this is it's not only on these ones. For example, Chrome is based on Chromium, so a lot of other browsers that uses Chrome also can have the power. So if you, for some reason, decide to go like in Brave or another browser that is based on Chromium project, you can have this power of this. But the thing is, the way how things are done on this and some installations, the installation process and other stuff, this may be different from each one of the apps. And a good thing is also that one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't know and developers don't know and don't take care on that is the desktop installation. Uh, Today we have a big amount of operational systems that you can install a PWA in your desktop, and you can have a PWA that is specific for a desktop that has some performance and some other features that is specific for your desktop, and you can optimize for this. But it is one thing that you, if you start to get most most of the developers don't think too much on that. But as an example, Starbucks has your PWA optimized for desktop. One thing that they would like to do is make people, for example, you are working on your in a project in your desktop and you don't want to pick up your phone and open Starbucks there and make your process to, oh, okay, I would like to schedule to get a cup of coffee, couple minutes. So you go and you can do this on desktop using their PWA. So this is a really good one. Also, in a Windows 10, you can have this. This will be like you have this on your start bar, so you can find there. And also not only on Windows and macOS, but also on Linux. You can have this on Linux 64 bits, so you can do this also. The thing is, even being different operational systems, each browser on each operational system has your blockers on. It is available or not. But as a general rule, if you want to have the ability to install a PWA in your desktop, Chrome is the best browser and has uh, the most branches of features available today to use this. Uh, One of the things that usually when you go back when the PWA was being developed is how you distribute your PWA. So the distribution is something that is one of the parts that is not so clear today yet. Uh, Back in the days, the most common way is doing by a browser installation when you got uh, you can create a specific button, and when you click this install button, you dispatch this, you add this event listener, and it pop-ups you to install. But this is one thing that only Chrome has implemented, and so Firefox and Safari will not implement these. So Safari will not implement these. Apple is one of the companies that, okay, we want to allow PWA, but we don't like some stuff, and so we are going in our way, and they already told that they will not support this. So this can cause a big problem because a lot of PWAs today use this. So W3C they are thinking in the future remove this API specification. So, okay, how we gonna install the web apps? Today, we already have some ways to install through the Google Play Store and also on the Samsung Store, on the Galaxy Store. Uh, the process on the Play Store is something that you can do in a cloud-based system provided by Google, where it's called Web APK. That it's like the Android APK that you have, but it's a web APK, and this is generated and signed in by Google. And there is some tools that help you to make this process of generate this, and then you can distribute and have this published in the Google Store. And the Galaxy Store doesn't have an automated way to do this, but they allow you to send an email with your request, and they will guideline you through the process and some documentation, what you need to do, what's the confirmations, and some stuff to allow, like some license and all stuff to use your information on their store. But this is a manual process, but it is allowed. And usually, as Apple is, they don't support this, and they publicly told that they will not support in their Play Store. Uh, there is some ways to make this. You can make some kind of wrapper instead, and they list you in a different section, but in a general way, they not allow this on their Play Store, at least now, and it's something that they will not do in a soon period of time. Um, one of the, like I said, Google has this Google Fuju project that is a team that is implementing in new features on the web, and it's really good. Their website, they have one live website with the status of each web API. Which of these web API they are implemented have an updated version of what is the status. There are some releases, then you can test some features in a trial in based on the flag turn on. So all of these you can find on the Google Fuju project team websites. And this one features that for me caught my attention. That is the periodic background sync API. When I told in the first slides that today you can make some kind of background sync, but you can't do this with your instance in background mode. If you are making other thing in another app, your Chrome instance, your PWA instance will be paused. So you can do this, and you can't receive and send data in background. With this periodic background sync API, you are allowed to do this. You can synchronize data in background. The second is the Web OTP API. So when you have your website now, you can get the SMS message with the OTP and automatically uh, fill the inputs that are expecting this. So this will be allowed to do in web now. Web NFC. NFC is something that we sometimes don't see. We usually don't see a lot of users for this. But Web NFC, you will allow sites to read and write data for NFC tags. There is some specification, some kind of NFC tags, but you will be allowed to do this. So, for example, you have some kind of inventory management system that uses NFC. You can make a PWA and make this happen instead of have a native web app. So this is one thing that it's really good. File system access API, so you'll be able to read and write and save directly on the user's device. So you can edit your photo, your pictures, and create some files using this API. And one of one thing that it's not today is not so good is the way how the share on these PWAs work. Since this is a Chrome browser, basically, or on other browsers behind the scenes, you don't have all the power and all the system specific share possibilities that you usually have in a native app. So with the web share API, you use the same systems provided share capabilities as native apps. So as example, Google, Apple's AirDrop, and Samsung also has a lot of direct transfer and other stuff. So you have all the access like if it was a native app. And this is from Furt, from Maximilian Furt, that he is a guy that uh, was been working and discussing and bringing information about PWA in the internet from a long time. And this is from the uh, 2019 JS conference he gave, where it's like a modern PWA cheat sheet that you have basically from the top to bottom and left to right packages that you can do to make your PWA way better. So you can implement the basic PWA support, then the app lifecycle, so a progressive experience, then the platform integration, then installation experience. If you take care on all of these things that are listed here, probably you're gonna have one of the most compatible and powerful PWAs today. So PWAs is something that didn't have the evolution as I would expect because years ago I was tracking that and it hurts because this was something that can be powerful, but since this runs in browser, it depends of the companies and like we know, Apple usually likes to have controls in their hands, so they try to difficult some stuff. But as general rule, if your target is Android, pretty much you can make up a PWA without any doubt about if this will work and if it will be powerful. On Android, you have a lot of features that it's coming. There is way of other things. You have scan code, shape detection, and you have all the sensors of your smartphone like Bluetooth, GPS, and other stuff, gyroscope, all these APIs. So uh, like I said, we didn't have all the evolution that we expect, but this is one thing that's still being evolving and in a slow pace. So in the future, probably we're gonna see more about this. Uh, Another thing that was started is try to make a search index of PWAs, an official search index about these. Okay, this is a PWA or this isn't. But this is one thing that died and no one talked about and more to this. This was started to make start was started to be made from one of the big tech giants, and they just dropped the project. Here are some reference. We have some uh, old references, and then we have some new reference, and the last one is about the Recten, and this was a pretty new. This was from this month, so it's something was released recently. So it's a really good use case. So if you are interested, you can check more on that. And that's it. Thanks everybody. I hope you could understand me well, and that's it. Thank you.